Hi there, blessings. Thank you, beloved one, for being here. Thank you for waking up today. Thank you to everyone who has been liking and commenting my posts. Thank you for the new subscribers. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me, and it also helps me grow, and it helps my content continue to spread and reach the intended audience. So, how are you doing? It is July 22nd as I am recording this video, and we are already in the window of it, but we are less than 24 hours away from both Venus and Chiron going retrograde. Now, I did a live reading late last night on TikTok, a general collective energy reading. I just had extra energy and I was guided to do that. And I did post that video on the YouTube channel. So if it calls you, you're welcome to check it out. And in that video, I briefly talked about this Chiron retrograde and Venus retrograde energy and why it's so important. But that was a general energy reading. Today's reading, I really want to focus in on this energy. I want to channel messages that want to come through in relation to this energy. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment, okay? Before we begin, get some water, get a snack, get comfortable, get whatever you need. Pause the video if you need to go do that. And when you return, I invite you to take a breath in. Inhale and breath out. Exhale. One more cleansing inhale. And exhale, releasing all that came a moment ago, all that comes next. Inhale, filling, opening, expanding with air, with love, with light. Exhale, dropping into the present moment, into the here now, into the body. I cast now a circle into which I step into, free of ego, thought, and motion, to be a clear channel for all the messages that wish to come through in accordance with the will of the divine, for the highest good of all who choose to tune in today. May the messages come through clearly, concisely. For the first time, I actually have a stopwatch, so hopefully I can, keep an eye on how long I'm talking, because I could channel and talk for hours. And may these messages integrate with love, light, ease, wholeness, peace, purity, harmony, and joy. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this Chiron in Aries. So what the hell is Chiron, first of all, for those of you like, what is this woman talking about? So Chiron is the wounded healer. What does that even mean? Okay, so the Chiron wounded healer energy is the medicine, okay? In your natal chart where Chiron sits, that is where the medicine for your greatest wound is. The catch is, welcome to the paradox of the human experience, that even though you heal this wound, the wound remains open. That's why Chiron is called the wounded healer. So the Chiron wound is your greatest wound, and it is also your greatest power. Now, Lilith, where Lilith sits, that is also another very powerful medicine that can be used to work on the Chiron wound. So Chiron is the wound, but then it becomes the medicine by using the Lilith, wherever Lilith sits for you, to heal that wound, but the wound remains open. Let me give you an example. Many of us are born into this timeline, into certain blood families, to break the multi-generational trauma, to, break the curses, to end the poverty, to end the scarcity, to end these cycles of just disease and disconnect and dysfunction. Then when the healing work is done, there's no blood family there to relate to. I say this from personal experience, and I know many Chiron wounded healers who are now empowered in their Chiron woundedness. And learning about my Chiron wound, or like where Chiron sits in my natal chart, changed my fucking life, because it allowed me to come to peace with always feeling this aching emptiness. Like, I've done all this soul work to heal my family wounds, yet I still don't belong. But that is the power of the Chiron wound. It's being able to do the work, heal, you know, whatever wound is in there, and then continue to exist in this human experience, knowing full well that you have this blood family that you have no connection to, because you have completed your soul contract. And when you accept that and fully step into that acceptance and embodiment of that, then you can move into your life purpose, okay? And really come into greater service within yourself, with your home, with your family, with your friends, with your community, and so on and so forth. Now, this Chiron is retrograding in Aries, and we just saw the nodal shift of, on July 17th, the nodes, the North Node, which is your purpose and your destiny, moved into Aries. Do you see where I'm going with this? We have the wounded healer retrograding in Aries. We have the North Node soul mission in Aries, which means this is a prime time. You know, 7/23 is when this energy shifts in, all the way through December 26th, okay? So for the rest of the year, it's going to be prime time to do your deep shadow work, to really ask the question of, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is all about sovereignty, leadership, initiative, courage, worthiness, confidence, you know, making that first step, making the first move, being the authority of your own life, right? So the big question that's going to come up is, where are you wounded because you haven't stepped in that authority? Looking at where Aries sits in your chart is going to give you the starting point, okay? So for example, if Aries sits in your moon sign, okay, then you're going to start working through where you don't express your emotional needs, your boundaries, your desires, so on and so forth. If Aries sits in your natal, oh gosh, I'm like drawing a blank right now, Mars, for example, okay, then it's going to ask you the questions of, where do you not take initiative for your truth? Again, the question comes back around to your core truth, your heart-centeredness, your identity, your I. What is your I? Independent of everybody else's opinion and everybody else's thoughts and everybody else's ideas and everybody else's wants and needs, okay? Even if you have family and commitments and jobs and obligations, that's great. You are not your job. You are not your family. You are not your responsibilities. You are not your hobbies. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Your core identity is sovereign divinity, okay? And then everything else that you choose to do with that is an expression of your own uniqueness, your own personality. Yet, however, that uniqueness and that personality can become tainted in the human experience when everyone else's ego, everyone's good opinion, comes in and starts, again, ego, edging that God, goddess, goodness that is you out. All right. So this Chiron retrograde is a time for inner. Okay. Any retrograde energy is a time for inner reflection, inner reevaluation, inner recalibration, inner retrospection. Okay. All the rewinding, you know, the experiences, like sitting back and playing things out like they're on a movie screen, but in rewind, to reassess our own choices and where our choices have created a life that isn't in alignment with our heart's truth. I changed my desk, so I hope you like the setup and you can see the cards better. Let me know. So this, you know, and then let's talk about the North Node in Aries, okay? So the North Node is about our purpose, right? So the more you work with your wounded healer and really empower the wounded healer and recognize that you're always going to have this aching emptiness, that you're always going to experience simultaneous joy and sadness, even after you work through this, is really going to empower your soul purpose. Now, the North Node is sitting in Aries, okay? Which means that everything that you initiate, especially over this next week through the Lion's Gate, is going to set the tone for the next 18 months. The nodal shifts happen for 18 months. Now, Aries is in the North Node, okay? So this is a prime time to initiate new. And the title of yesterday's reading was fresh starts and balance, okay? Because that is the energy that's going on right now. This Cancer new moon on the 17th, which is when the nodal shift happened, actually felt very much like a full moon because there was such big energy coming through. My body's been a wreck, okay? Like, what the heck is going on? My body's been so, like, actually confused with my cycles and everything because it just, this whole month, it has just thrown me off my rhythms because there's so much change. But this is all part of our ascension. Ascension, okay, the way I view ascension, I view ascension as the restoration of the divine blueprint of Gaia, of Mother Earth. That's what Gaia is. Gaia is the original name of Mother Earth before she was infected and polluted by malevolence and lower frequency energies that were jealous of the power of Gaia, of the power of the beings who protected and took care of Gaia, and did their own fuckery to infect the consciousness. Not a conversation for today. I will definitely be here for way longer than I need to be. I do have things I need to get to today. So regardless of where your North Node is, the Aries energy in the North Node is inviting you to ignite action. Okay, that is what the energy of Aries is ignition of action. And with the Chiron medicine in there, it's a prime opportunity to really look at those core wounds, whether it's in this timeline, in past timelines, in your bloodline, in your ancestral line, in the ley lines of the land that you live in. You know, there's many different ways that you can look into things to really start unpacking the core. Because when you unpack the core, when you get to the root of the problem, okay, the problem is an acronym for perceiving, running, or blaming leaves everything magically solved. That shit never works. You got to face it. You got to confront it. You got to look at it, and you got to discard what doesn't serve and welcome home the rest. Welcome home the blessing, welcome home the gift, welcome home the lesson. And then the cycle finally ends. That's how the cycle breaks. The cycle breaks when you finally face it and look at it. So Aries is in the North Node. So what's in the South Node? South Node is about the past, okay? North Node is about the future, South Node is about the past, but all that really exists is the present, right? So we can only focus on the here and now. I know, it's all a paradox. But South Node in Libra is talking about divine justice, karmic balance, okay? Libra is all about the balance. Libra is the number 0. Libra is the neutral. Libra is weighing, okay? What you have done versus output, input versus output. Is there an equivalence? Okay. So that's going to be another big thing that's coming up over the next few months. And that's feeding into the question of the I. Am I giving as much as I'm receiving, and vice versa? Okay. With my, not just my job, but in my relationships, in my personal self-care, in my creativity, so on and so forth. And then we bring in the Venus and Leo energy. Okay. So Venus is very much at home in Leo. Venus retrograde, again, inner time. Venus in Leo is what? All about pleasure, all about that fire, all about that passion, right? So that's going to also bring in the question of, in relation to I, do I allow myself to experience pleasure? Do I allow myself to have fun? Do I allow myself to have play? Not just, you know, once a year when I book a vacation to Maui after working my ass off for 70 hours every week, but every single day. It's a couple minutes every day. Can I eat this mango and experience pleasure? Can I smell these flowers? You can't really see them, but yeah, you can see this. You know, there's a bouquet of flowers here. Okay, there's this bouquet of flowers here. Can I smell these flowers and experience pleasure? Can I take a moment and sit with my coffee or my tea in the rise instead of rushing out the door and spilling that shit all over me? Can I take a few moments every single day to appreciate the being human experience, to recognize that there is pleasure to be found if I just take the time to just appreciate how much goodness, how rich, how abundant this life is, all that you seek is already within you. You already have, you are already aligned with it. It may not be in your physical reality because of divine timing, because you still got some things to work through, right? The God, goddess, the universe is not going to send you your blessings if you are not in alignment to receive that. If you are still engaging with energies and habits and relationships and situationships that are going to what's the word, that are going to taint that richness, right? There's a saying in the Bible that says, do not cast your pearls before swine. So why would God, goddess, the universe give you the pearls of your wealth, of your reward, when you're still engaging with swine energy? You got to get rid of that swine energy, whether it's internal, external, or both. Okay, whether it's clutter in your home, clutter in your mind, clutter on your social media pages, clutter in your phone, you got to declutter. You got to make room. Okay, because we all have 24 hours in a day, that we all have so much space to receive. Okay, we have to empty what doesn't serve. We got to take the trash out, the physical trash, the emotional trash, the mental trash, the spiritual trash. Yes, there's definitely spiritual trash out there. And what I'm talking about when I'm saying spiritual trash, it's that spirituality that isn't actually based in heart-centered divinity. It's the false light. Okay, so pleasure is a part of being in the human experience. Pain and pleasure, they are two sides of the same coin. They are the duality of each other. We cannot experience pain without understanding that there is the balance of pleasure. When we experience pleasure, it makes the pain worthwhile. When we experience pain, we appreciate pleasure more. Okay, it is the light to the shadow. I got this download last week that basically, you know, Archangel Metatron came through and he's like, there's no such thing as darkness. Darkness is light, shadow, and sound. Okay, because the moment you bring light into a dark space, you see light and shadow. And there's sound. So what is sound? Sound is vibration. Sound is movement. Okay, so what is the shadow that is asking you to give it voice? Darkness is light, shadow, and sound. This is a big message that Archangel Metatron came through and I've been sitting with all month. Darkness is light, shadow, and sound. And we get so comfortable in the shadow, or, you know, so sucked into the density that we view the world as dark, when in fact we are just dancing with the shadow, more than likely in a disempowered way. So especially, you know, the next 2 months when Venus is retrograde in Leo is a really prime time to work with the shadow. Okay, the Venus energy is about the feminine. The Venus retrograde is about the dark feminine. The dark feminine energy is the medicine to sit with, to work with integrating the shadow. And how does the shadow show up? The shadow shows up as stagnation, procrastination, gossiping, drama, laziness, disassociating, so on and so forth. And I have a course on my online market. I'll put the link in the bio. It's a 22-day self-paced shadow integration course, and you can do it in 22 days. It's super intense, or you could take longer, you know, honor your process at all times. But this is a really great time to work with the shadow. Another point that I'm being guided to share with you right now is really withdraw sharing your sexual energy right now. If you are doing any kind of soul work, regardless of whether you're in partnership with somebody or not, over the next 2-3 months, like just taking a break from using your sexual energy in a sexual way and harnessing that sexual energy to really work on those core wounds, to work on integrating the shadow, is only going to benefit you, support you, and accelerate your healing journey. And if you're in a relationship and you're saying, oh, my partner, he's not going to understand, you're not in the right relationship, honey. Okay, because Your sexual energy is precious. Your sexual energy is the energy of creation. And if you can't control your own sexual energy and how it's used, and you continuously let yourself be pulled into the addiction of sex, the addiction of drugs, the addiction of TV, the addiction of bad company, the addiction of food, the addiction of shopping, you are literally leaking your life source energy. And as long as you are leaking your life force energy, because that's the easier thing to do, you are not claiming your authority and your divinity. And that's what the Aries energy here is all about. That's what the Aries North Node energy is about. It is about claiming your sovereignty. It is about claiming your place in this world as a divine, sovereign being, independent of anyone else. That's not to say we don't care about other people. That's to say that we love ourselves first and foremost, that if somebody else doesn't like who we are, that's okay. All right? We are not here to please everybody and to make everybody happy. Okay? That just dilutes you. And then it brings you into that place of depression and disease and discontentment, because you are literally leaking your life force energy. You're doing all these affirmations, you're doing all these prayers, you're doing all these fasts, you're doing all these, spiritual studies, but you don't actually take the time to integrate that and really harness your sexual energy to support that integration and that deep soul work. And then you're wondering why nothing's really working, why it's taking so long. It's taking so long because you're literally leaking energy by the choices that you make when you step out of your meditation seat, out of practice. Okay, the soul work is not just for 10 minutes journaling, writing, doing your affirmations, doing your gratitude list, and then you're like, oh, and then I'm going to go do the same bullshit for the rest of the 23 and a half hours of the day. Well, it's going to work, but it's going to take a lot longer, because it's like you fill your cup, but then you go walk around the whole day with this cup, and you don't realize that the bottom of the cup, there's a crack in it, and you're literally leaking your energy all over the place. By the end of the day, there may not even be anything left in the cup. And then you start over the next day, and then 7 days later, you're like, why is my cup still fucking empty? But you haven't looked at the bottom, you haven't looked at the core, you haven't looked at the foundation. That's what your sexual energy, the sexual energy is your foundation, your core, the root. It is the life force. You literally would not be here without sexual energy. Okay, sex is the energy of creation, sacred energy exchange. Okay, before, sex was not in the olden times, in the pure times of Gaia, in the original blueprint of Gaia, sex wasn't used as something to do because you had fun. I mean, that happened every once in a while, but it wasn't the norm. Sex was used specifically and primarily as a way to call in God, goddess energy for creation of children, creation of community, creation of, protection for the ley lines. It was used to support the growth of the entire planet, not just, oh, I just met this guy and now I'm naked and I really want a relationship, but the sex is really great. You keep leaking your sexual energy that way. And so this Venus retrograde in Leo is really going to highlight, if you haven't been doing the work with the sexual energy. I mean, I was celibate for several years while I was doing my shamanic integration, shamanic vision quest journey. And while I was on my shamanic vision quest journey, there were others there who were also there doing their journeys. And then they would literally go sleep around with strangers. Needless to say, they're not on the path that I am right now. Everybody has got their own path. Many are called, but few actually do the work. Few actually show up for the calling. So your life purpose, your soul is calling you to yourself. That's what the Aries energy is here to say. Aries is here to say, I'm calling you back to yourself. Are you going to listen? Are you going to step in? Because ultimately you do have free will in the human experience. You do have, your own sovereignty. So you get to decide, are you going to step up and do what you need to do so that you can come into your full actualization in this lifetime? Or are you going to continue repeating the cycles and continue reincarnating, doing the same bullshit all over again? Continuing to stay on the struggle bus, continuing to stay on the poverty, on the scarcity train. Okay. And let me tell you, there's only so many lifetimes and so many chances that you get before you get cut off. That's the fucking hardcore truth. Okay. So you may be on your last lifetime and you may not know it. But you probably do. If you're in your last lifetime, you know, because you've already done the work and you're probably not even watching this video. Or you might be because you love me and you're awesome. Thank you so much. So, okay, I've been talking for about 20 minutes about this energy. It's just such an important energy. I haven't heard a lot of other readers talk about this Chiron in Aries energy conjuncting and in alignment with the North Node in Aries energy. So I'm talking about it because it's super, 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 super important. Like our mission, our North Node, that is the whole purpose that we're here. But very few actually step into the North Node because it means you have to go through the past. You have to go through the dark night of the soul. You have to integrate your shadow. You have to look at all of your bullshit and claim it and forgive yourself for it. And sometimes let the past be the past. Let everything that you were born into no longer exist, because that was simply the vessel that carried you until you self-actualize. And then you literally have to create something that maybe nobody's ever seen or heard of before. You know, the hardest part about awakening is not the awakening experience itself. It's not even the shadow work. It's not even, you know, going through the dark night of the soul. It's 7, 8, 10, 12 years later, still showing up and standing in your integrity and standing in your truth, especially when everyone else around you doesn't align, doesn't understand, they mock you, they make fun of you. That is faith. That is integrity. And those are the true leaders that are going to stand when Gaia rebirths herself in the next few years, is what I'm guided to say. I was going to say a number and Archangel Metatron stopped me. Thank you. I appreciate you. You know, sometimes information comes through and I have to hold this information to myself, because if I share certain dates and certain information that comes out, it could fuck with the laws of time and the laws of fate. And I have been shown better. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so let's pull some cards. Okay. Let's pull 3 cards. I'm going to do a quick pick a card reading for you all. You know, what is highlighted for you through this Chiron and Venus retrograde energy over the next couple of months? What is the key highlight for you? All right, 1 option. Okay. All right. Option 2. Oh, whoa, too many. Can we just get 1? Hi. These cards are a little big for my hands. Thanks for being patient. Okay, there's a second one. Okay, it's in reverse. I'll take it like that. Okay. Okay, and the third one. Okay. All right, so option 1, we have Knight of Swords. Okay, Knight of Swords is saying that over the next few months, what's really going to be highlighted for you is you speaking your truth, you expressing what has wronged you, whether it's to God, to a therapist, to a friend, to a family member, to the actual people that hurt you and caused you harm. You know, this is about you speaking your truth, not just about what caused you harm, but that's the first message that came through, but also about your desires, your needs, your boundaries. I have a practice on my website, on my online market, called the ABC Check-In. And it's a model of communication that I created almost 10 years ago to help me communicate effectively, because nobody ever taught me that shit. In fact, you know, growing up as a brown woman in India, I wasn't allowed to speak. Okay, it's the way I was taught is you speak only when you're spoken to, and you be a good little girl and you say exactly what you know you need to say, or you're gonna get your ass beaten. Okay, so I had to do a lot of soul work on how to speak, you know, how to speak, first of all, let alone how to speak my needs and boundaries and desires. And so this ABC check-in developed over the years, and it is something that I absolutely insist on having with every single friend, family member, even business partner in my life. And it immediately sets the tone for open, authentic communication, as well as creates a container of safety and consistency to come back to weekly or bi-weekly. I definitely don't recommend over bi-weekly, but you can use this ABC check-in to start practicing with yourself. Stand in front of a mirror and do the ABC check-in. A, appreciate appreciate yourself, appreciate your home, appreciate your life. You know, it's kind of like gratitude, but a little gentler. Okay. Sometimes the thing about gratitude is this is like, we don't want to be grateful because shit looks like it's falling apart. It's actually falling into place, love. But appreciation, you know, can be a gentle way to ease into a gratitude practice. And then B is boundaries, you know, your own boundaries, the boundaries that you need to place, the boundaries that you need to shift or change. Okay. Then C is clarity and concerns. What's your clarity for the day? What's a concern? You know, what's something that's coming up that you need to just ask some questions about? Then D is desires. Okay, what are your desires for the day? What are your needs? Where would you need to ask for help potentially? And then E is emotions. What emotions are coming up for you? Do you need some emotional support? It's okay to have feelings. All of you is valid. All of those emotions are valid. Earlier this week, I just launched a course, Emotional Mastery Toolkit, EMT. It is donation based until 7/27, and then the price goes up to $47. So if that interests you, you know, that is something that can be used throughout the rest of your life. So for lifetime access, I'll put the link for the EMT course below. But Knight of Swords, Knight is action. Okay, E is emotions, and then F is final thoughts. Anything that doesn't fit into that category. G is gratitude. Now we really cultivate gratitude practice for self first, and then for everyone and everything else. And then H is hug or hold hands or say hi, bye. Okay. And then you move on with your day and you come back to that check-in weekly or bi-weekly or daily. You know, if you're practicing with yourself, you can do this daily as well. I definitely recommend that when you're starting, if you know you have the time and the energy to do that. It can be a lot, so be gentle with yourself. But really, Knight of Swords. Swords is about your words, your clarity, your voice. Okay. Knight is about action. So really stepping into your voice and your authority, potentially sitting with the color blue, doing throat chakra healing work, is going to really support you to break through and stand in your authority and use your voice to empower yourself and thusly your life. All right. That's the option for 1. Okay, option for 2, 9 of Wands in reverse. What is this saying to me? This is saying that it's time to drop the defensiveness, okay? You've been working so hard at something for a while, whether it's your own personal growth and healing, whether it's your home, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's your community, whether it's a global project, whatever it is, you've been working on it for so long that you've been working on it for so long that there's almost like this fear that has built up around letting others see that because of past wounds and traumas around, you know, sharing your hard work with somebody. Again, that analogy that I shared earlier, casting the pearls before swine, you know, potentially you've had experiences like that in the past where you shared your divinity, your joy, your happiness, and this person laughed at you or made fun of you or just shit all over you or, you know, tossed you out of your life or whatever. You had a negative reaction, an unwelcome reaction. I don't like to use the word negative too often, but you had an unwelcome reaction where it's like, you know what, I'm just going to keep everything to myself. But that is actually blocking you from reaching the 10. The 10 is completion. In the 10 of Wands, in the traditional tarot, the 10 is the guy, the person, guy, girl, doesn't matter. The being is finally returning home to collect their rewards, to collect their harvest, to really step into their authority. Okay. So you need to let the defensiveness go and you need to start really just opening your heart up to life again, to expansion, to possibilities, to love, to support, okay, to encouragement, to validation. Okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be validated in the human experience. It's a very real, very normal human need. Okay, it's how we express and then expect that validation that gets us into a little bit of trouble. Okay, so the 9 of Wands in reverse is saying you need to look at where you are defensive, where you are, you know, still holding on to resentment, where you are still holding on to old hurt, old pain, and let that shit go so that you can get back into this energy of, okay, I'm continuing to show up, but I'm open to that last final piece that brings me into 10, that brings me into completion, that brings me into that wholeness, so that I can really step into the King, Queen of Wands energy, which is really connected with my heart-centered truth. Okay? And then group 3, Palace of Wands. This is King of Wands energy, okay? Over the next few months, it's going to be really important for you to look at your home life, okay? Your routines, your habits, your structures, and more than anything, appreciate and revel in how much success you have. Okay, success is not necessarily defined by how much money we have in the bank. Okay, that's a distorted view of the modern world that cripples so many of us from realizing that we are actually incredibly wealthy and successful because we've done, deep healing soul work, and we aren't triggered or pulled down by the illusions of the world that are saying, oh, the apocalypse is coming. You know better. You're like, the apocalypse isn't coming. Gaia is going through her rebirth, and I'm doing everything in my power to support that. All is well. Okay. Or this could be, healthy habits that you've cultivated for yourself, good disciplined self-care physically, going to the gym, having a good routine, a combination of mind, heart, body exercises. This could also be, having a home for yourself that you've worked for years, and you finally arrive. You have the home that you always dreamed of, or you're close to that point. But anyway, this card is saying, like, really take time over the next few months to appreciate how far you've come. And anytime any thoughts arise that you don't have enough, or you're not quite there yet, or blah blah blah, those are shadow aspects of judgment coming up. Okay, they're judging you. That's a comparison. What is that comparison to? Is it to some false idea in the world that you need to act or be a certain way or do a certain thing to be a part of this human experience? You are a human being. Okay, you are here to be human, to experience life, to experience pleasure and pain, to love and to be loved. Okay, you're not a human doing. Yeah, we need to do things every once in a while and take care of our responsibilities, take care of our health, but you are not defined by just what you do. When you die, what you leave behind is memories. You leave behind, people will always remember how you made them feel over what you gave them, because things come and go, but memories, they attach to our emotions, and emotions create imprints in our body. That's why trauma can be so difficult to work through, because it literally leaves an imprint on the body. So the Palace of Wands is saying, over the next few months, also I'm getting the message of, you're going to see a lot of blessings coming in. You're going to see a lot of reward coming in over the next few months because of how hard you've been working on whatever it is that you've been working on. So really appreciate the balance of blessings that is coming in. And, if anything else that is less than appreciation and joy and happiness comes up, welcome that judgment with love and then let it go. Okay. Thank you for reminding me how blessed I am, how hard I've worked. And thank you for, supporting me to this point where now I am empowered and really thriving in my being experience. And it's time for you to retire, and retire those old thoughts, burn it, bury it, flush it down the toilet, take a bath and let it, swirl down the drain, whatever you got to do. Receive your blessings and appreciate how far you've come in this journey. Okay. Okay. One final message for the overall collective. Okay, the sun flipped over as I was shuffling the deck, okay? But it flipped over in reverse. So what is this telling me? The sun is a really happy card. There's no such thing as a reversal in the sun, at least not in the negative way, The sun in the reverse is saying, this is a time for you to really focus on your joy, on your happiness, on what makes you shine. And that kind of wraps up what I was sharing earlier about what this Chiron retro and Venus retrograde energy is all about. It's all about self-love. And the sun in reverse is the card of self-love. You know, the sun upright is about expressing and sharing our joy, about receiving that. And you still can do that, right? But the emphasis with it being reversed is to really highlight receiving, especially if you're an overgiver and an overdoer, right? If you've been doing too much, if you've been giving too much, this is a time for you to receive more of yourself, make more time to play, make more time to relax. Oh shit, this is definitely a message for me. You know, I'm doing a sacred income activation circle right now with a group of sisters, a 21-day challenge. And you know, this month has really been highlighting for me, you know, where I need to have more play and more pleasure and receive more in my life, because I've spent so many years doing the deep quantum healing work. And so, you know, the sun in reverse is also, you know, and all of these messages that I channel for you all is also, you know, some of it is also for me, because whatever's coming through me is also coming through for you. It's all a mirror. You know, we're all receiving messages from this, myself included. So I'm getting, you know, messages for myself here, but I don't want to make this about me. But 19, the sun in reverse, you know, the overall general final message is really use this energy. Again, highlighting the need to pull back your sexual energy, unless you're sharing that sexual energy with a partner, with a committed partner, keyword committed partner, who is also on that frequency of using sexual energy to heal, because you can absolutely do some powerful healing work together with a partner who's on that same level using sexual energy. I've done it, and it's absolutely profound, but it's not for everybody, and it really does require both people to be on that same level. So I'm not saying don't have sex, I'm saying be extremely discerning with that, okay? And again, the 19th sun reverse is here to saying, like, use all the energy that's coming through with this retrograde period through the, you know, Lionsgate portal over the next few months to really focus on self-love, on realizing, you know, where you need to cultivate more of that for yourself, where you need to demand that from the people in your life. And I say demand, especially to those people who are overgivers and overdoers. You know, you are literally, that is that voice, that is that Aries energy of, I am claiming my place in this world, I am claiming my worth, I am claiming my divinity, I am claiming my riches, I am claiming my wealth, I command my peace. Okay, I was talking to a sister the other day, and I used the word command, and she let me know that that word triggered her. And so I asked her why, and she shared. And as we were talking, the download came through of come and come, COME, and AND. So rewrite the word command, if that's a triggering word for you, as come. I command wealth. I come, and wealth helps me actualize my dreams. I command peace, and peace allows me to really appreciate the present moment. I command divine, juicy love, because it shows me that I have done my work and I am deserving of life. I command health, because I am innately healthy, and I do everything in my power to eat right, to exercise, to meditate, to rest, to be in balance, to go out in nature. I command my highest worth, because I am love, and I am here to love and be loved, and I am the freaking sun of my own universe. But I need to shine for myself first before I can shine for others. Okay? Woo! All right, I'm gonna roll here. Anything else? No. Okay, so those are all the messages that I have for all of you. Thank you so much for being here. If you are interested in booking a personal reading for me, I still have a couple of seats left in July. The link for that is in the description box below. And then other fun links to my other courses and offerings are also available. Donations, if you feel so inspired. And yeah, that is all I have to share. Looks like I'm wrapping up in good time. Definitely going to have my stopwatch here moving forward, so that I can keep these readings as brief as possible while also allowing the divine to flow through me. So let's seal this reading. Thank you to all the angels, ancestors, archangels, animal spirits, Ascended masters, guides, elementals that were here today, bringing in these messages. Thank you to Archangel Metatron for using me as a channel for clarity, for truth, for wholeness. May these messages receive, may these messages be received by those who are in alignment to, I'm losing my words now because I closed the circle. May the messages be received by those who are called to receive them in this time, and may all integrate with ease, love, wholeness, joy, clarity, purity, and peace. Until we meet again, I send you love and blessings.